let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
Press conference. AJ tried to play down the whole event. He doesn't see Dillian as a rival, just another body. Dillian didn't blow his cool. You know, he kept it cool, so they were both trying to keep their cards close to their chest. It was telling that Dillian wore shades, knowing full well there's going to be a face-off. Now, in my opinion, I don't think he wanted to look AJ directly in the eye, because he might still be carrying some carryover from Joshua knocking him out. It was a brutal knockout. So he's still got a few issues going into that fight, just like AJ had when he took on Andy Ruiz, and they critiqued him for not trading with Andy, but look what happened when he did that last time. So he used his advantages in reach, length, and speed. Dillian doesn't have that over Joshua, though. He can make some modifications technically, but from a physical standpoint, and watching how his career has played out and Joshua's has played out, he's going to have to go to war to get that victory. And no, let's not get it twisted. I think AJ has to go to war, but with his physical gifts, he shouldn't have to put himself in harm's way as much as Dillian will have to get the victory. And the way he talks about Derek James as a trainer, even though he says even if he's not successful with Derek James is the truth. Nah, you have to be successful the way you're talking him up. And if we don't see improvements in this AJ, and I'm saying this as an AJ supporter, then the Wilder fight, it can be won. What I'm saying is no improvements in this upcoming fight with Dillian, then there might have to be a cap on the expectation of what he can do and what he can become. Dillian, you know, his mouth gets the better of him sometimes. He says, what does it feel like to have AJ's balls in your mouth to Eddie? Eddie, you know, very swift, a veteran of press conferences. He said, you might find out on the 12th of August, which, you know, set the place alight. And AJ said, yeah, fuck around and find out. And yeah, that was funny. AJ clapped back at Wilder, he clapped back at Fury, he clapped back at Talk Sport. You spoke about how Fury was saying, yeah, look, Sugar Hills came to train him, and Sugar Hill said, no, I haven't. I came to train a Coley, and I'm flying back on Monday. Basically lying to the public that he's training for the Usyk fight, which he clearly wasn't. Basically trying to buy time.
Working on your alibi.
And then he spoke about the unequal treatment he gets on Talk Sport and how they're in favor of Tyson Fury, which is true. When confronted about the Wilder fight, he said, forget Wilder. You know, he expressed through the interview that Wilder and Fury have messed him around, and, you know, like, you got the DAZN deal and Fury with the arbitration mediation situation, both undisputed fights, and it wasn't AJ who walked away from the table, so he's had enough of that. One fight at a time. He's here to promote the AJ DILLIAN Whyte show. In terms of how the two conduct themselves outside the ring, AJ wasn't much different from how he was in the first press conference 7 years ago. Dillian, however, was way more animated back then. He had a lot more to say. In the fight itself, like, AJ caught him with a shot that was borderline after the bell in the first round, and Dillian retaliated like a crazy person, literally got himself DQ'd. I remember Jonathan Banks having to rush in the ring and pull him back. But this time he's more subdued. He was also more subdued when he challenged Tyson Fury for the WBC title, and it wasn't his best performance, let's say that. We have to put a lot of that down to how good Tyson Fury is. Has he matured? Is he in a place where he believes now if he's going to beat AJ, he has to kind of not lose his head? He's got to keep hold of himself, keep hold of what the game plan and the tactics are, because boxing is a thinking man's sport. But can he outthink AJ? Would he be actually better served to try and get under AJ's skin in the press conference? Because that's what Eddie said he was going to do. He's going to try and get under AJ's skin, but he didn't. You have to wonder what that Povetkin KO did to him, because it was against the run of play, and it was the second time he's been knocked out like that from an uppercut. You know, people weigh up the psychological repercussions for defeats, and let's just stick with both men. Dillian has been slept against AJ, against Povetkin. He got back up against Tyson Fury, but it was still a bad stoppage/knockout loss. AJ was stopped on his feet, and he was still trying to carry on against Ruiz. It's a little different, isn't it? But we'll see come fight time, because that could play a big part in how this fight plays out. The one who's unable to circumvent round the psychological baggage accumulated since they first fought will likely be the loser. Anthony Joshua. I like the way he made Spencer Spencer was uncomfortable when AJ started challenging TalkSport. The look on Spencer Oliver's face was priceless.
You know,
let me ask you a question. When like everyone's favourite at TalkSport fought Otto Walling and went 12 rounds, no one, and bust his eye open, no one complained. Andy Joshua goes 12 rounds with Jermaine Franklin. It's like, what's happened to the heavyweight division? Why is that? What is the problem with me going 12 rounds?
Does it annoy you that people say, well, Anthony Joshua, the fire seems to have left him, the fight seems to have left him?
No, it just makes me curious as to why. That's why I asked you the question. Why do you think that is? Where one does it versus another, but you can clearly see that there's two different comparisons. It makes me wonder why. But anyway, moving on. We want to address this.
Yeah.
And that was it. Not surprised all the tickets have sold first day. Not surprised at all. A lot of talk on the undercard. Is Ebony Bridges going to be on there? Is Derek Chisora going to be in there? Is Fabio Wardley going to be on there? Is Dempsey McKean going to be on there? Is Filip Bogovic going to be on there? How are you going to pay all these motherfuckers? I did read that DILLIAN wasn't going to participate in the build-up, but he did participate, and it's got a good reception. I'm not so much sure in America. I didn't see a lot of the big channels covering it. So maybe they're a bit tired of AJ, a bit tired of DILLIAN. Probably think they're washed. The Americans are waiting to flog AJ at the end of the year with Wilder in it. You know what I mean? They're trying to end AJ's career in December. I tell you what, Wilder better take a tune-up fight. If you take AJ that lightly, he doesn't need a tune-up. Could be in for a rude awakening. He's only had one round since Fury annihilated him in 2021. And he's an aging fighter. He's had one round win since 2019. The other two fights he got bludgeoned. The AJ fight won't be near until 2024. Perhaps actually in January 2024. They might move it forward a little so they can get everything in place. One round victory in 4 years going into an AJ fight. I expect AJ to do very well in that fight if it happens. That's all I can say. You know, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Like, a lot of people, even in the UK, they think, Wilder's going to knock AJ, is going to knock him out because he's more vicious and AJ hasn't got a mean streak. It's a bit of a simplistic way to break the fight down, in my opinion. Why hasn't he got an opponent? If this fight is so important, why hasn't he settled on an opponent yet? If it's not going to be Ruiz, get someone else in. Why hasn't he settled on an opponent? Is he just going to wait until December because he hasn't really got the stomach for the battle no more after the Fury fights? Or is he just trying to cash out a few more P's out of the game before he exits? I'm not saying he's just going to fall over when he fights AJ. He's going to try and win. But is he really up to prep himself, to put himself in prime condition? And that means taking a tune-up fight and doing the hard sparring. Is that where he is right now? His fans are fair weather fans, you know, like they'll all jump on the bandwagon when the event kicks off in Saudi Arabia. But why aren't you encouraging him to build himself up from now? I mean, the only heavyweight action we've seen in America of significance was the kid Jared Anderson the other day, struggling to get past someone who AJ blew out in 2 rounds. They haven't had a world title fight over there since 2021. We're not too far behind them because Fury's messing about with hybrid MMA fights, but he does have a strap. The other straps belong to the Ukrainian. All the straps are in Europe. I know the Americans don't like that. Some of them go into we don't care mode. Keep the fucking belts, we don't care. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, is Wilder really a candidate to get his belts back and keep the belts a long time right now? I don't think so. I really don't think so. No, I don't. He might beat AJ, yeah, he might do. I don't think he will, but he might do. But to me, I'm not seeing a hungry fighter right now. That's not what I'm seeing. And Jared Anderson was supposed to be the big hope after Deontay Wilder. And they're talking about Richard Torres. At the moment, it's a long way off before America can compete with the Europeans when it comes to the heavyweight boxing. People talking about, the PBC have got it all back. And even I was saying that. Yeah, the PBC are running the game right now. Fuck DAZN, fuck Matchroom. But you ain't got the heavyweight division on lock. You ain't got no players in the heavyweight division. You got Crawford and Spence. Where's your heavyweights? You got Canelo. Where's your heavyweights? Take it as a diss if you want. I've heard worse said about British heavyweights from when they used to call British heavyweights horizontal heavyweights. I'm going to do a video on that soon. I've heard a lot worse said about AJ and Fury. Cheats, glass jaw, can't fight. I've heard a lot. You take it in stride. It's a challenge. there's a good chance we don't see no heavyweight title boxing in America for a good few years right now. Just being honest. There's nothing in the immediate landscape that jumps out to say, yeah, we've got this heavyweight title fight that has to happen in America. No, nothing. To be honest, America were lucky to get the Fury fight, the third Fury fight in America. After the second fight, you're lucky to have that in America. Just keeping it real, you know? Everyone knows, you know, if it was about British boxing, I'd just be just as critical. That's what I do. It all depends on Dillian's jaw, how long the fight goes and how it plays out. If Dillian can take AJ's lusty wallops, then, you know what I mean, AJ would have to be technically bad to lose to Dillian, unless Dillian lands a great shot, you know, sets up a great catch and shoot. That's his speciality. Like the left hook he set up in the first fight, if he can set one of them up from the catch and shoot, who knows? But AJ would have to have really deteriorated for Dillian to beat Anthony Joshua. That's my opinion. JOYCE versus ZHANG, they're talking about, oh, he's going to come in heavier, oh, he's going to make all these modifications. He's not going to do shit. Yeah? Now, I'm not saying he can't win the fight, but they're going to hope that Joe can withstand the first 3 or 4 rounds because, look, unless you're really stupid and have no idea about what you're watching, Zhang is clearly better coordinated, better boxer than JOYCE. So what they're going to rely on this time is maybe push Zhang back, hope Zhang's gas tank blows out after 5. Like Derek said, Zhang is a very good fighter for 5 rounds, and then the tank starts going after that. They're going to hope to catch Zhang down the stretch, but it's a big gamble because the fight could be lost again in the first 4 or 5 rounds. It doesn't take much for a heavyweight of that size with power to make pizza out of your face. You don't have to knock him down. You don't have to knock him out. You just have to pizza his face up. You have to pull him out. But as for JOYCE making all these modifications, no. His identity as a pro boxer is what it is, yeah? But the whole we overlooked Zhang, we can rectify it this time around. Maybe, perhaps, but they didn't overlook Zhang. What you saw was what you saw. Somebody said, why don't Eddie Hearn just make the Wodzik Bivol fight? Maybe Bivol doesn't really fancy it. Because I have to agree, I don't see Anthony Yard taking that fight, or maybe not being allowed to take that fight by BT, by Queensbury, by Frank Warren. I don't see it. I think they're going to discourage Yard and Tunde as much as possible from taking that fight. I don't see it happening, Eddie. But Eddie's making an offer, or he's made an offer, so it's going to be interesting how that pans out. Dan Aziz didn't take it. Obviously, Buatsi didn't take it. In fact, it looked like he ran from the Bivol fight by jumping over to Boxer. Not a very good move. Not a very good move. You know, I look at the likes of Buatsi and Lawrence Okoli and all the stuff they left behind, not just at Matchroom, but at 258. Like, both of them on 258 would have been in contention to get a slot on AJ Whyte too. Instead, a domestic showdown against Dan Aziz. Yeah, it's a good fight for us boxing anoraks, but Lord, I don't think Ben Shalom's paymasters are going to be thrilled to bits. Although, you know, it should get one of them in a mandated position to fight for one of the straps. So you can't discount that. Look, it means a lot to get on the undercard of AJ fights. It means a lot. All of a sudden, Derek Chisora's perked up. He wants to fight on the card. Ebony Bridges posting, yeah, look, because she wants a place. People want places. Fabio Wardley, I want a place on that card. It energizes fighters. It gives them incentive. You know, that'll be the second card, AJ card, that Fabio Wardley's been on. And this Ben Shalom geezer wants to talk about Fraser Clark is the 8th. Nah. You know, Fraser, he should be on AJ undercards. Like, the deal was literally done with Matchroom. But they threw so much money at Fraser, even Eddie said, you got to go take the money. Don't think it didn't go unnoticed how Lomachenko used a possible Devin Haney rematch to swerve Shakur. You know, people talking about, they're in talks for a rematch. Since when? I mean, Bob Arum, he kind of shit on Devin, didn't he? When he got caught on the mic saying, it was a robbery. And Loma's never stopped moaning about it. His fans never stopped moaning about it. The pro-Loma media never stopped moaning about it. At this point here, I have a feeling that Bill and Devin are not in a hurry to do top-rank fighters or Bob Arum any favours. If they do any deal, they're going to try and squeeze every penny and concession out of that deal. And I don't blame them, really. I mean, they're talking about Devin like he doesn't have no options. You have to fight Lomachenko. Lomachenko ain't got no rematch clause. He's not the champion. Devin has the straps. Devin has also a perfectly good fight at Matchroom with Regis Prograis to become a 2-weight world champion. So we'll see what Devin does, but it's up to Devin. Devin doesn't have to give your hero. Like, I tell you what, these Lomachenko fans are some of the most arrogant pieces of shit. You know what I mean? Let me tell you this now. When Lomachenko lost to Devin, I had a lot of people who followed me on Twitter and they were cool. But when Devin won that decision and I had an opposing view to them, want to give me life lessons and boxing lessons because they're so fucking enlightened. I'm not replying to you on Twitter. I've got better things to do. Yeah? If I'm going to be doing a whole lot of dialogue online, I'm going to get at least a bit of AdSense. Yeah? Fuck that shit. You think I've got time to go back and forth with you all fucking thing? I do hangouts. You want to talk? Come on a hangout and talk.
You want to talk? We'll talk to the fishes.
Lomachenko is a contender like anyone else. He has to go back in the queue. He can't pursue no fight with Devin. Devin will pursue him if he chooses to give him a rematch. Know your place.
You gotta know your place in the world. You gotta know your place.
You've been very arrogant, you Lomachenko fans. Extremely arrogant. And so is Shakur. You know, like, you spoke a lot of shit about Devin, and now Loma's shitting back on you. Oh yeah, I can't fight you. I'm pursuing a fight with Devin. And Shakur's trying to suck up to Loma. Yeah, well, while he's ducking us, I just think it would be a good idea for us to fight. People trying to tell me that Arum is trying to make the rematch. Well, how deep are the negotiations? Now, Arum could get it, but Bill and Devin have a better relationship with Eddie. And the WBC have ordered the fight. Prograis has got 14 days to take the Devin fight, or he's mandated to take on Sandor Martin. I don't think he wants the Sandor Martin smoke like that. You know, not because he's scared of Sandor, but I don't think that fight motivates him. It's a very, very difficult fight. Horrible fight for anybody. Not just Prograis, for anybody at 140. The more glamorous fight that will probably motivate him in terms of risk, reward, and gains is Devin. So we'll see. We'll see. But it's up to Devin, ultimately. It's not up to Bob Arum or Lomachenko. Regis is going through his options because it's a tough sport. The last fight he had against the unheralded Zarilla was a tough scrap for him. It was a tough scrap. And he has options. He might go for the Ryan Garcia fight, which might be an easier fight and a more lucrative fight at 140 for him than Devin Haney. I wonder what Derek James thinks about that. I don't think he'd want to push Ryan into a fight like that. Maybe a couple more fights and then take on the elite competition at 140. But from what Eddie's saying, he's close to making a deal for a Haney Prograis fight. I haven't seen nothing from Bob where he's making any inroads in making this Lomachenko rematch. It looks like Shakur's going to get the mandatory position, if anybody. So I don't know where Loma thinks he's entitled to a rematch. And why you guys think he's so entitled, I don't get that at all. Yeah, I believe the WBC are in the process of mandating Shakur. So if Devin gives up that strap, Lomachenko might not have no choice. He'd have his work cut out to swerve out of that fight. Him and Bob. Now check this, check the entitlement here. Devin is undisputed champion. I have to keep saying that to remind some people. Devin is undisputed champion. Shakur is ranked number 1 by the WBO, number 2 by the WBC. Lomachenko is ranked number 3 by the WBA, number 4 by the IBF, and Shakur is ranked number 4 by those organizations. So Shakur offers you a fight, Lomachenko, and he's ranked above you. But you think you can push over the next guy to get mandated to get the rematch with Devin that you have no rematch clause for. That's why Shakur had to run to the WBC to ask them to mandate him against Devin, because he realized he was getting punked by Lomachenko. He's getting punked by Bob Arum, more importantly. That's who's punking him. Go protect your guy in the number 1 spot. Lomachenko ain't got no rematch clause. Surely Shakur should be up next to bat. So, okay, Devin offered Shaq 25%. That's considered a low ball offer. Well, if you get mandated, it's discretionary, isn't it? Like, it could be 25, 30% or whatever. Dillian Whyte got 20%. So depending on what purses Devin and Shakur have been getting, you might even get 20%. You might get 5% of what Devin offered, for all I know. But you're not getting much more than 25% regardless, as mandatory challenger.